Hello, I'm Ryan, co-founder of AnswerThis, and in this session, we will be taking a deep dive into all the different tools we can use for our research within AnswerThis's Canvas. Last time, we created an entire literature review and uncovered relevant papers and research gaps, but today, we are going to add, analyze, and compile so much more information with these features. From last time, we created this entire literature review, which we can see on the left-hand side with 38 citations, I believe, and on the right-hand side, we can see all those papers as well as more that are related to the space that we can use to extract more data. From here, once we're familiar with our literature review and the papers that were used, we can now use the next step option. And the first thing that we want to do that we did last time was create a filter to get down the exact papers that we need from this paper table. And now we can select all and create a new table. When we do this, we'll be scroll down to a new table with only those filtered papers that we had. We can also select the exact papers that we want to make a new table out of and do next step in the same way. But this is one of my personal favorite ways to do it. Once we have all the papers that we see as relevant, we can actually extract even more data and more specifically macro data about the research field itself. So if we select all, go to next step and select bibliometric analysis, we'll be greeted with loads of graphs and word maps just like this. It'll show publications by year, citations by year, combined publications and citations. Great way to see the trends of research which are made. Of course, we did filter it down last time to papers that went from 2023 and beyond, which is why the graphs look like this. But one of my favorite graphs here is the citation impact graph. And if you have this to a wider year range, you can see when key papers were made and where everyone's citing sources from. So a great way to find key papers within your space. And if we scroll on down to the bottom, we can see the top terms that were used in these papers, the top authors within our research space, and the top authors in terms of impact within the research space as well. Additionally, if we see the papers that we like, such as this one, and we can also do multiple if we wish, we can select both of these papers and then press chat with papers. And it'll bring us down to an interface like this, where we have the papers on the left-hand side and AnswerThis's AI bot on the right-hand side. And from here, we can flick through both of our papers that we have by pressing both of these options. We can scroll on down, read some of the sources, and then ask questions such as, what were some research gaps that were mentioned from this paper? And as you can see, we'll be greeted with an answer citation backed. And the best thing about this is if we see a sentence we like, such as this one, we can click on the citation and AnswerThis will bring us down to the exact page and lines where the citation was brought from. And just as we could do before, we can highlight pieces of text that we like and add it to our notebook so we can see it at a later date. Now, if we haven't got enough information from our papers yet, which we'll have lots of by this point, we can also make a citation map. So if we copy the DOI of one of these papers and then select add step and click on citation map, you can enter in your DOI, simply press your paper as origin, and you'll be greeted with a citation map like this, where you can see how all the papers interact with each other and connect. And if we just scroll on a little bit down, we'll also have a table like we had seen before, except at the right hand side, we see this metrics button. If we press this, we can sort by most cited papers, most connected papers, and top contributing authors. So if we click by most cited papers, we can see that this paper here that's popped up has 47,362 citations. If we scroll on down, it is sorted by the amount of citations. Similarly, if we click on top contributing authors, we can see the papers with the main authors that exist within this research space. And just as we could do before, we can save these papers to our library, and if we want to create a citation map out of one of the papers that we see here, we can also click on set as origin, and it will be set as origin on this citation map, and it'll look like this. And say at this point, somehow, some way, you haven't found the papers that you need, no need to worry. On the add steps section, we can click on search new papers, and it'll bring us up to an interface like this. From here, we can enter in a prompt or a keyword for the papers that we're trying to find. We can also click on the filter section and filter for minimum citations, journal quality, publication types, databases, and everything that we could do within our literature review to filter for papers within the search paper section as well. And when we submit search, It will immediately bring the papers in our space that we were looking for, and we can adjust those filters until we find the exact papers that we need. But I have no doubt by this point, AnswerThis has most definitely found the exact research paper that you need. The final thing that I love to do within anything that AnswerThis gives me is ask a follow-up question. It's the most powerful way to extract more information about the research question or topic that you're building on. For example, I can ask a question like, what are the limitations of AI models, and identify research gaps? I can then just click on search. And as you can see, just like that, we now have an entire comprehensive answer to the limitations and research gaps that we were asking for. And just like the literature review, if we highlight any of these sections that we find interesting, we can add this to Notebook and save it for a later date. And talking about Notebook, this is the next section that we're going to be diving into. So please join us as we uncover how you can write an entire research paper within one platform, which is, of course, AnswerThis.